And welcome to QI. We're off on our H for holidays this evening, leaving behind Hartford, Hereford and Hampshire in favour of Hong Kong, Honduras and Hawaii. Hitching a ride along the way are the globe-trotting Rich Hall, the jet-setting Rob Brydon, the wanderlusty Bill Bailey, the itchy-footed Alan Davies. Now, before we set off, let's hear a bit of world music. Rich goes... Lovely. Rob goes... Oh, I suppose it's a Welsh harp, probably. Bill goes... Oh, and Alan goes... Oh, tremendous. Right, now, settle down. The holidays are over, and it's time to hand in our homework. I've been rather fed up with basically having to say things that are quite interesting to you, and I thought it was time that you said things to me that are quite interesting.
Right.
I want you to interest me. I have sent you all off on your holidays, as you will remember, not at the expense of the BBC, at my own personal expense I have sent you. So there's a special prize of a half-day holiday if you can report on the most interesting thing in the country that I've sent you to visit. Rob, you should start. Where did I send you? Where did you go?
You sent me to Hungary.
Hungary?
Yes.
Because it had to begin with an H, of course.
Had to begin with an H. That was the fiendish plan, very fiendishly clever. And I went to Hungary, Stephen.
And were they wearing trousers as tight as that?
They were... well, I was, interestingly enough.
You did? Good.
I wore trousers very much like that, and with the long sock, of course.
We know about your long socks.
Don't we just?
Yeah.
I went to Hungary, and I'll tell you what I brought back for you.
Yes.
Curious.
Ooh.
Interesting. What am I showing you?
No gloves. No gloves.
I know.
Jazz hands?
A really bad glove puppet.
Glove puppeteer really has lost the plot.
Yeah. Naked glove puppetry.
No, very clean hands.
Clean hands
Yes.
and Hungary. Can we think of a connection?
Are they jumped up in the corruption tables or something? Is that a sort of a euphemistic?
It's very literal. Very literal.
Ooh.
They
don't wipe their bums.
No.
Oh!
I don't think there's a need for that, Alan. I don't think there's a need for it.
Obsessively washing their OCD.
I do think there's a need to wipe your bottom, by the way. What I was saying is, I don't think there's a need for you to say wiping bottoms. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting you leave the loo with it just trimmed.
They do wipe their bottoms, but they don't use their hands to do it.
Yeah.
How else? You'd have to have a mighty appendage to do it any other way, wouldn't you? You'd be like an elephant cleaning itself.
Just whipping it. Right, okay, let's leave the lavatory now.
You can train a wombat to creep up behind you and just...
I've been trying for years to get my wombat to do that. Clean pair of hands.
Yes.
Think, if you will, of medicine for a moment. Where might I be going with this? Medicine. The illustration is very helpful.
Surgeons.
The importance of surgeons having clean hands.
Scrubbing up, they call it, don't they?
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
Scrubbing up, as Stephen says, yes.
Yep.
That's it. Opening doors and taps.
Doing the taps like that, they do.
Yeah. Before you know it, you've got a Eurovision act, haven't you? Look at that.
Especially you've got these on, they look...
For a long time, they didn't realise, doctors and surgeons didn't realise, that it was actually very important to wash your hands before you operate, because they weren't aware of the transference of germs. And it was Ignaz Semmelweis, a Hungarian, and he came up with this theory because he was at the Vienna Infirmary, you see, I've never sounded this knowledgeable on this
It's
show.
very impressive.
He started this whole idea of the importance of cleanliness and hygiene.
You're absolutely right. There is a museum in Budapest, to which I have been, called the Semmelweis Museum, which is where he lived. He died in poverty and insanity, in fact. I think he died in an insane asylum. No one recognised the absolute truth of what he said.
So excessively clean hands actually drive you mad.
Well, no, what drives you mad is telling the truth and having nobody believe you. See, doctors couldn't face the fact
Saying that
that he was basically saying that the thousands and thousands of
Yes.
deaths that took place in hospitals were
Technically,
probably
yeah.
the fault of doctors.
It implied they were a little unclean, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it's exactly, it suggested
That
that.
museum is a wonderful place. When you go in, there's a big sign that says, "Now wash your hands."
Very, very good. Yes, you're right. But what else has Hungary given us?
Goulash.
Goulash?
Yes.
What does goulash mean? Do you know?
Goulash means stew of some kind.
Well, in Hungarian, it actually means... Do you know what...
Actually means cowboy. I learnt this while I was
Cowboy.
there. Cowboy.
Cowboy, you're right.
Ride 'em,
means
goulash.
cowboy.
Sorry, it's just quite seductive when you press that. When you press that heart button, it's like we're going back in
Yes,
time.
yes.
Well, tell us, Rob. Tell us.
It's 1974, and goulash means cowboy.
You're quite right.
No, it means cowboy. Rubik's Cube, of course, also comes from...
Yes, no, Rubik was a Hungarian. What do they drink in Hungary?
They drink
Bull's blood.
Bull's blood, you're right. And bull's blood was responsible for one invention which was not credited. In fact, the very word tells you
Black
who we
pudding.
think invented it. No, pasteurization. It was not Louis Pasteur who first thought of that. It was an Hungarian. But he wrote a paper on it that was in Hungarian and nobody else in the world read it because it's a very, almost a unique language.
The other thing that Hungary is famous for, of course, is Laszlo Biro with the
Ballpoint pen.
He also invented the automatic gearbox.
Yes, he sold it to the Ford Motor Company, didn't he? Yeah, that's right, Biro.
There's a lot more to Hungary than meets the eye.
My grandfather.
So why not visit when you get the chance? Hungary, there's so much going on.
My grandfather was born in Hungary.
Really?
Yeah, they used to say a Hungarian is the only man who can follow you into a revolving door and come out first.
Isn't there something about the language is uniquely odd?
Well, it's unlike almost all European languages.
But it's related
comes-
to a language that's miles away.
Finnish.
Finnish.
Finnish and Estonian. They're known
Suomi.
as- Suomi, yes. Yeah, the Finnish language. Known as...
You said you owe me. I thought you was you owe me it.
Yeah, you remember that.
When you say Finnish, do you mean the people or the dishwasher tablets? That's got a language all its own, isn't it?
It is, you're so
To
right.
really get to grips with it. I prefer the liquid.
Powerball. If you get all the Powerballs out,
Yeah?
you can sell them to teenagers at a disco for 10 quid.
Wow. They don't get high, but their insides are fantastically clean.
Wow.
Yeah, when they go to the toilets, they clean them.
Yeah. Well done. No, well done, Rob. That's excellent. I'm going to give you a lot of points on that. Yeah. Rob went to Hungary where they invented washing your hands, pasteurization, the Rubik's Cube, which you mentioned, and arguably the word hello. Did you know that?
Because of the telephone,
Yes.
Edison's...
One of his assistants.
Assistants went
Yeah.
halom,
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 which is the...
halom.
Halom means I can hear you.
Yeah.
In I hear you.
I'm not so sure if I think that sounds a bit fanciful to me.
Yes.
Not that it means I can hear you, the fact that that might then
Have
bastardised
caused us to
into
use the
hello.
word hello on
Yeah.
the phone.
I'm not buying that,
Okay.
which is why I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
I used to collect stamps for about 6 months when I was 11. And you could send off for packets of stamps.
Yes, I remember.
About 40p or something.
Yep.
And you would get lots and lots of
Triangular ones and
that I
strange shapes.
I called Magyar stamps, but apparently they're modular. Those ones.
Yeah.
You'd always get loads of those. They must have printed a lot of stamps, or no one was sending any letters there, or...
I collected stamps for a very brief period, like you, as maybe my early
me too.
teens, and I gave it up. I thought to myself, philately will get me nowhere.
Rob, quickly, press it. Go back in time. Go back in time. Go back in time.
I collected stamps for a period when I was an early teenager. I loved it.
Yes, it's good. Excellent. Well done. Well done. Good news. So, Hungary, great success, lots of points. Bill, where did I send you?
Well, I went to the kingdom of Bhutan, which is in the Himalayas. It's actually the only country in the world which is a carbon sink, which means that it actually absorbs more CO2 than it actually gives out.
So the greenest country on Earth?
It's the greenest country on Earth. It's written into the constitution that the forest area of Bhutan shall never dip below 60%.
And the cows are not allowed to fuck.
No, that's right. It's a Buddhist country, and the national sports are archery and darts. But not darts as we know it, Jockey Wilson style, mini lagers and shouting. They're huge, they're quite big darts, they're quite lethal. There they are, that's the archery, and that's the big dart he's chucking there.
It's obviously miles away. I mean, it's not like the hockey, it's obviously a lot further away.
Yes.
Or he's a rubbish at it.
Yeah. And then, yes, it's not targets, it's actually a hunting skill. He's trying to bring down a seagull there. It's a beautiful green country, and its main export is hydroelectric power. So it's even exporting renewable energy. So it's a wonderful paradise.
There is a...
Invade.
Yeah, come on.
I remember something about penises, though. A friend of mine went there and sent me back a photograph of penises.
Yeah, they paint phalluses on the doors as a fertility symbol. Which is, so you see...
Actually in full flight.
Well...
Yeah.
That seems to be quite a graphic one.
Look at that. Goodness me.
Yes.
So that's probably a monastery of some kind.
So the monks, this is part of the religious thing, is it? The monks,
Yeah.
the monks would...
Yes, it's an very old sort of tradition, but yes, it's a Buddhist country, so it's very sort of peace-loving and beautiful place. The general state of Bhutan is measured not in money, but in happiness. It's a sort of their equivalent of currency. It's gorgeous.
Well, I have to say, Bill, that is fantastic, and it makes me want to go there. I've never been. Thank you very much, Bill Bailey. And
Thank you.
Bhutan.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Can I take this off? I'm getting a rash.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm allergic to souvenirs.
Anyway, yes, Bill Bailey was in Bhutan, where they have the world's only carbon sink. Darts is the national sport, and they pursue gross national happiness by painting huge phalluses on the doors. Rich, tell us about where you've been.
I, Stephen, have been to Hawaii.
Hey.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Aloha to
Okay,
Hawaii?
I will tell you many interesting things about Hawaii. It was discovered by Captain Cook after he discovered Sydney Harbor, and then moved to New Zealand and met very friendly people, and he got to Hawaii and they ate him.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very happy cannibals. I have here an outrigger canoe.
Oh, yeah. I've been on this.
This is the part that keeps it afloat, the outrigger part.
Yeah.
You tear through the waves, and then when you come back, you ride the waves back. So it basically is surfing.
Hey, yeah.
This wood is called Willy Willy,
Excuse
which
me?
means Willy twice, because Hawaiians like to repeat stuff a lot.
Yes.
They only have 12 letters, so...
I know a word beginning with W that they repeat that is one we use a lot on the internet.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Wiki is a
Yes,
isn't that a-
wiki means
wiki,
quick,
wiki
quick.
means quick,
How
quick.
many letters do you say they have?
12.
12. 5 of those are O. Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah. Oh, done. I see. Nobody got it. I thought you were just going ooh.
No, Hawaii 5-0.
Oh, very good.
Some of them come with like a sort of a pamphlet to explain them.
If you just read this,
If you just read this literature about that joke, you'll enjoy it much more.
So what kind
There's also a word, if you can't think of a word in Hawaii, you just say Dakine.
Right.
And that means any word you can't think of. So it's a fantastic way of communicating. The majority of land is owned by the Doyle Pineapple Company. Doyle?
Dole.
Dole.
Yeah.
Dole.
Dole. I thought they'd sold out because I was there a year and a half ago and they'd closed down some of the pineapple
They
plantations.
bought it back. Just
Oh,
after
have
we
they?
left, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the highest mountain on the planet is in Hawaii.
Yes. Why do we say it's higher than Everest?
Because the island of Maui is actually
The whole
a
thing
mountain.
is
And
the mountain.
the mountain itself is called Mauna Loa, and from the
If you count from
surface,
the base.
it is the highest mountain in the world.
Very good. Excellent. So surfing, what can you tell us about surfing?
Surfing was invented by the Polynesians.
I've never surfed. You may be surprised to know. But I've seen some of those surfing movies.
You've crowd surfed?
Big Wednesday. I'm not even...
Blackadder recordings.
Oh, yes, naturally, there was a mosh pit there.
It's really, really hard. I surfed when I was younger. And
You
it's
don't
really-
anymore?
It's very hard to get out in behind the waves so that you catch them.
Very, very tiring. Well,
And
I
also
had some
very
lessons in Bondi in Australia, and
Right.
it's the getting up. It's very hard. You got to, you know. I mean, that chap seems to have got the hang of it. Forward, and then when the moment comes, you got to hop up
you
in
jump
one
on.
fluid
Oh,
motion.
never.
I go surfing in Devon.
Do you?
It's great, yeah.
Oh, right.
In the winter. It's hardcore surfing.
Wow.
You have to wear
Wetsuits, yeah.
a hood, gloves, you know, the whole bit.
Overcoat.
Sometimes, sometimes you're in up to your waist.
So how good are you? Could you do something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously though, can you do it?
I've got up on the board.
More than most of us could do, probably.
Then it's very
into
hard.
the water.
It's very hard to get up
I
on
stood
the board.
I stood on the board, and I actually was so excited about it, I immediately fell off. So I went, look, I'm out! Oh, you know,
Have you done it, Alan? Because I know you dive.
I've been on those boogie board things, you know, where you go on your tummy.
Oh, really?
nah.
That's great. It's good fun.
In Hawaii, I've noticed...
Australia, I couldn't get through, like Rich was saying, I couldn't get past the waves. We did a bit of splashing in the waves for a bit.
Yeah.
I got a bit tired.
They get a guy on a jet ski to tow you out there. That's the way to do it. you see.
Well, wonderful. Again, fabulous. Thank you, Rich Hall, with your gems. Now, unfortunately, Alan didn't get a holiday this year because, well, he was in detention. But well done, everybody else. Another question. Let's get hydrographical. Where in the world are you most likely to see fish falling from the skies?
Ooh, Sardinia.
Good effort. I like that.
Finland. Can I just say?
Finland, very good as
There-
well.
there's a-
Oh, he's coming up with fish-related
There's a
puns.
frog interloping on that picture.
There is
It's
a frog.
Not just fish.
No.
Is that a clue?
Well, sort of. There are...
Bay of Biscay.
No, not the Bay of Biscay.
They get carried up, don't they? It's to
Whipped
do with
up in
climatic
storm.
conditions.
In a
They get-
tornado. So like in the Bay of Pigs.
It begins with H. It's nearer the Bay of Pigs.
Honduras.
Honduras. Is,
Good God.
there is a festival every year about falling fish. They don't, we can't show you film of it, but supposedly, in almost every culture, there are stories of fish falling from the sky. Yeah, there is in Yorro, the Yorro district of Honduras, they have this festival to celebrate it. But the frogs go back to when did frogs fall from the sky?
Exodus.
Exodus, exactly right. In the plagues in Egypt.
It was the Pharaoh and the
Pharaoh, yes.
plagues and
Plague
the
of frogs. Joseph,
locusts,
yeah.
frogs.
Yes, and what explanations are there for these
Well,
stories?
it's winds. It's high pressure or something, and it's they get kind of
Sucked up into a
sucked
sort of
up,
tornado.
sucked up into the sky, carried along, a bit like your picture's illustrating, and then all of a sudden, whoosh!
Yeah. That's the theory. Again, it's quite hard to
I
prove.
thought that had been proved.
Not to my knowledge.
Tornadoes only happen on land, though, don't they? Isn't that right? They've got
Yes.
different words for them if they're on the water and on the land.
I've seen a tornado in the sea.
Have you?
Down in Devon.
Oh, really?
I've definitely seen that. The exact thing. Didn't last very long, and not enough time for a fish to swim up it or be sucked up. No. But it did. There was a momentary sort of the twister dipped down
Yeah.
into the water
Water spout.
briefly.
Yes, back.
That's
Yes.
it.
Well, yeah, that is one of the theories. Another is that a river or the sea may, at night, burst over somewhere, depositing fish, and then withdraw, and people see the fish in the land where it shouldn't be and assume that they've dropped from the sky. But it's certainly true that fish eggs drop from the sky.
Yes.
Why would that be?
Birds eat them.
Birds, exactly,
Birds,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and occasionally they will hatch because they're down in water and puzzle people. So, yes, in certain parts of Honduras, it rains fish every single year, or so the locals claim. How would you like to spend 2 weeks lying on a pile of parrotfish droppings covered in phenyl benzimidazole, sulfonic acid? Does that sound like a good...
Is that sun cream?
Oh, very good. Excellent. Excellent. So, that may not be such a bad thing after all.
So it's lying on a beach covered in sun cream?
Yes, most people would like it, but parrotfish droppings is a very special kind of beach, the kind we'd most like.
White sand?
White sand, soft white coral island sand, is parrotfish droppings. It's called a parrotfish because it has a beak, like a parrot's beak, and it scrapes away and eats at coral, and it excretes this white sand. And each fish will excrete over a ton of it in a year. And there are lots of them. And that builds up as the white soft sand that is the particularly prized sand of such a beautiful island as that, for example.
Each fish excretes a ton of...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? A
Single
little
fish.
parrotfish like
It's
that?
not- yeah. Every single day it's eating it. It's a ton a
It's
year.
eating a ton of... Well, I suppose,
It's
yeah, you're
pushing out.
constantly...
So how much does
processing.
the average man excrete in a year? I don't know. I'm looking at you. Why did you know that?
I'm afraid I don't
Your
know.
classical education has failed you.
Stephen knocked that up in an afternoon.
The average man will excrete the Isle of Sheppey.
By lunchtime.
And the sun cream? What's the maximum sun protection factor at the SPF you could...
50, isn't it?
50.
50.
What does it mean when it's SPF 50?
It means you can stay 50 times as long in the sun as you
really-
would do if you would say, for example, the sun was so hot you were going to burn in 1 minute.
Yeah.
If you put that on, you can stay 50 minutes.
Yes, that's right.
Or if
That's
you
the
put it on in England, you could stay for a lifetime.
While with sand castles. What do you
Yes.
know about sand castles?
Oh.
You need moisture.
You need moisture.
You need-
How much moisture?
I would guess, having some experience of this, about a third of the overall amount of sand.
Actually, it's found out to be an eighth.
Yes.
Yeah, by people who are very serious about it, and these are sandcastle competitions, and sand sculpture, as they call it, rather, and you know, where they have the World Championship for
California, I bet.
You'd think it would be California. We might even have a picture of a sand sculpture competition, and you might be able to guess where that is.
Spain.
Canada.
It's Canada, yeah. It's in
Good Lord.
Vancouver.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just tipped a couple of buckets out and then you just looked over and, oh, no, that's really put that to shame, hasn't it, really?
They do take it very seriously, but there are very strict rules. 6 metres by 6 metres is your patch. You're
No
only
Americans
allowed to
have it
use
first.
sand in your square bit, and you can't add anything. No adornments, no little flags, no flour and sugar, which apparently some cheaters use.
To give it a bit more
So
consistency.
once you've finished, it's then sprayed by the judges so that it doesn't sort of crumble, and then it's judged. What would you imagine is the world record? The longest?
1 mile.
16 miles.
16 miles.
16 miles, yeah, very long. Yeah,
it a blue
absolutely.
whale?
Stretched for over 16 miles. It was in Myrtle Beach, Florida.
South Carolina.
Is it South Carolina?
It is the redneck capital. You would not wish Myrtle Beach on anybody except
Is it a bad place?
except a bunch of those kind of people.
How
y'all doing? Woo! That's Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Is this a 16-mile-long beach that somebody then said was a beach sculpture?
in the shape of a
In the
beach.
shape of a
I've done
beach.
it. The perfectly representing a beach. Yeah.
And we go to the judge. Here it is. It's a beach.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What do
It's
you think of
brilliant.
that?
Well done. Anyway, there we were, somehow talking about sand and talking about coral and how lovely it all was. The sand of coral beaches is made from the excrement of parrotfish. Now, what's so lucky about the unluckiest man in the world? That's not him, incidentally, but that's an amusing assemblage of superstitions.
He got killed by a horseshoe.
Yeah, well, this man is either the unluckiest or the luckiest. Depends which way you look at it. But
Something like he's had more operations or accidents or anything,
Well,
or
bear in
more
mind-
claims direct things than anybody else, and
That's
he's still alive.
Yeah?
bear in mind that we're after places and countries and things beginning with H. So that's about, and if I tell you his name, this may help. His name is Tsutomu Yamaguchi. I say is, he actually died in January 2010. At age 93, so he lived a long time, so he wasn't that unlucky, you may say.
So, where's the hate there with the H? Is it?
Yamaguchi would suggest he came from...
Holland.
Harwich.
You can do better than that.
I'd have said Japan.
Japan.
have come from
Now
Holland.
think of a place in Japan that begins with H.
Hokkaido.
Oh, Hiroshima.
Oh, Hiroshima.
Hiroshima.
Oh,
Right.
He was, he was...
Bomb landed on him and it
Yeah.
bounced off.
No. He was in Hiroshima on business when the bomb went off.
Yes.
He was badly burned. He spent a night there.
He went to hospital in Nagasaki.
The next day, he got on a train, bizarrely, which shows you that even though the atom bomb fell, the trains were working. So he got on a train to Nagasaki, and a bomb fell again. And he was celebrated. He became a sort of hero, but only in his 90s. He was officially recognised as the man who was bombed twice. He claims that there were over 100 people he met who also had that same or a similar experience. And he had a network of friends. But he was a cheerful fellow, and you see, he lived and looked cheerful and died aged 93, so...
Isn't look that cheerful, does he?
No, well, wedged between two mushroom
It's
clouds.
happening again.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Yeah, it is astonishing. He's either the luckiest because he survived an atom bomb
Well, I
twice,
suppose.
or the unluckiest because...
But he lived to 93, so he didn't have, he was not, his life was not curtailed.
No, exactly. But
I
the thing
think is the glass half empty?
That's
Is it
exactly-
half full? Either way, it's radioactive.
Well,
So
that-
don't drink it.
Yeah. And he never got on a train again, I can tell you.
But the astonishing thing to me is that you drop an atom bomb
Yeah.
on Hiroshima and the train service is working the next day. I mean, in our country...
Keep calm and carry on.
Yeah.
A couple of leaves. That's it.
Yeah, that's it for the rest of the winter. It is quite
The
extraordinary.
wrong kind of bomb. Oh, it's the wrong kind of bomb.
It was clearly the right kind of bomb. It's fine, everybody, don't worry, it's the right kind of bomb.
Right. The right kind of bomb has landed on the 4:30 from Potter's Bar. Please proceed to the nuclear area.
I suspect they weren't privately owned.
The sandwiches have not been affected.
They could withstand a nuclear blast anyway.
Well, there you are, extraordinary man there. Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi.
Either the luckiest or the unluckiest man in history, hit by 2 nuclear bombs, survived them both. But what was the largest steam engine of all time used for?
I don't know. The SS Great Britain.
No. Again, places beginning with H.
Oh, huge boat.
Holland.
Holland.
What?
I said Holland before.
Oh, did you
Will it be reclaiming land?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Tugging the sea back.
Exactly, reclaiming land, the polderland, they call it in Holland. Some might say that the Haarlemmermeer is the largest man-made structure, if you can call it man-made, on Earth. I mean, it's obviously nature, but it's kind of... Schiphol Airport is on reclaimed...
First to go when the old polar cap melts.
Pull.
I'm afraid it will have a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
They will. It's a constant battle against nature.
Schiphol. It's a
Schiphol.
crazy place.
Yeah.
I went through Schiphol Airport and I had a guitar with me, and the bloke said, "Excuse me, what is in the case, please?" And I went, "Oh, here we go. Here we look at the drugs." So I opened up and I went, "It's a guitar." It's a guitar. They're so cool, the guys there. I went, "It's a guitar." And he opened it and went, "That's no guitar. That's a Gibson 71 with a flying pickup." You guys are cool.
They are
Hey, let's
splendid.
jam a little bit. No, I've got to go. You're weird.
Charming English friendliness.
Hey, we have an amplifier system in the customs office. Come on, guys.
Well, no, the
Get off
Dutch,
me.
indeed, they reclaimed a lot of their land because it's low-lying. It's the Low Countries.
They lie
called
low.
that, not by accident.
It's one of the flattest places in the world, Holland. Very, very, very flat.
Yes, talk to me about dikes.
Dikes, okay. All right. Then, in a normal way, or in some crazy kind of double entendre way?
What is it? What is a dike?
A dike is a kind of a levee, as you would say.
What's the difference between a dike and a dam, then?
Well, it is an old word for dam, actually. It means much the same thing.
Yeah, the famous story of the boy that put the finger in the hole, to stem in the dike, yeah.
Yeah.
And to stem the flow.
But the odd thing about that story is that it's not Dutch.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's an American story written in the 19th century. Is it? Yeah. And most Dutch people don't know it, but they know so many Americans and British people know it. They actually have statues of this little boy, Hans, or whatever name they choose to give him, who put his finger in a dike.
Oh.
Why dike for lesbian?
Oh, no, that's a tricky one.
Well, bulldiker was the original phrase. It was a verb to mean to engage in lesbian activities. It was attested from 1921, because about 20-odd years before that, the word dyke was slang for the vulva.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
I thought you'd
Why
be
don't they just
interested.
call it a family run around with an excellent safety record?
You're silly.
I am a bit silly, Stephen, you're right.
Silly, but very charming. The largest steam engine of all time was used to drain a large chunk of the Netherlands. Now, imagine you're in the middle of Epping Forest,
Okay.
and you know that the closest pub is due north. Where you want to be is due north, but you haven't got a compass. How can you make sure that you walk straight to this pub that you know is due north of you?
We follow the trail of sovereign rings.
Let's imagine there is no... So
Go
you want
find
to
a
the
tree.
Epping New Road and it goes straight north right the way through.
well, if you found it, that would be helpful.
Listen,
You find a
for-
tree
Yeah.
with moss on it.
Oh.
And then with moss.
He's right,
and
I've
on
heard
the
that.
opposite side,
He's right.
it's dry, and you sit there and wait for someone to come along and ask them where the pump is.
Now, you had heard, and many people have heard, and seem to think that moss grows,
Moss grows
on the north side.
side of trees.
But it's not true.
Find a
I mean, it will
pine
grow on the
needle.
north, but also on the south and the east and the west and the southwest and the
So
north.
basically, don't rely on that as a kind of
That would
tracking
not be helpful.
skill.
What other ways are there of finding north
The
without a
sun
compass?
rising and setting, I once got a good one.
It's due east and due west, but only in an equinox, which is, only happens twice a
So
year.
wait for an equinox.
Wait for an equinox, which might be difficult if you're...
No more than 6 months.
Well, you might be near the solstice in the opposite. It would be a long wait. Do you know the one with the watch?
Well, you have to go and buy a watch.
No. Let's assume
Buy a watch with
an
a
ordinary,
compass
an ordinary
on it.
watch. Ah, that's
See, it
cheating.
would be a good one.
But no, you point the hour hand, the little hand, at the sun, exactly at the sun, and then exactly between that and 12 is roughly south. So you go to the opposite direction of that. It's complicated.
Sorry.
Unless it's daylight standard time, and then
Oh, and then you're screwed.
you end up
aren't you?
a couple miles from the pub.
But just travel always with Bear Grylls and Ray Mears. Then they will make you a compass out of their toes. Or something.
Or their eyebrows.
Or their eyebrows,
Yeah.
for example.
You can float a pine needle on water
Yes, you
Yes,
could do
yes.
that if you were...
just to kill time.
Yeah, I was going to say. You can float a razor blade on water, and if it's magnetised, it would act as a compass. All of which aimless rambling brings us to the
Wait a minute,
tourist trap of general ignorance.
What was the answer to the last question?
If you get lost in Epping Forest, just listen for the traffic
Yeah.
and then go towards it.
But you could use the stars, because the stars are fixed points, but that would only be at night. So you'd wait for night, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, do you know how to read the stars?
Seriously, listen for the traffic.
I'm sure you're right.
Be much quicker. You wait for the stars. It's over there.
Now, what's that constellation there?
Uranus.
Yeah, the Plough, the Dipper. Yeah. And do you know how you might find the North Star? What is the name of the North Star? Do you know what it's called?
Star du Nord.
Polaris, it's called. Polaris.
Polaris, that's a
you
submarine.
you take on the right hand those two there that sort of form the end of the cart, or however you want to look at it. If you follow them up in a line, you will get to the North Star above, which is, as it were, hangs over the North Pole.
You just keep heading towards it.
As it were.
And you,
Yeah.
as it were, yeah, but
Yeah.
you look at it and you just
Yeah.
keep on your heading
Yeah,
north.
That's it. I mean, they're mostly really good navigators, even today use it still. If things go wrong with their GPS system or whatever, they know that it's a degree out and they know how to compensate for it over long distances. But it's still very reliable. There are 57 stars
Unless you're
that are
in the
used.
southern hemisphere, then what do you use?
If you're in the southern hemisphere, yes, I guess you use the Southern Cross, do you? I don't
Yes.
know. But the strange thing about humans, if you are lost, you probably hear people say, well, I ended up where I started. This happens all the time. If you blindfold someone and tell them to walk in a straight line, within 66 feet, they will be back where they started. That quickly. You go in circles.
Really?
We all do. Why do you think that might be?
Homing pigeons. We're descending from homing pigeons.
Yeah. That's it. We're asymmetrical. We're slightly...
Put one leg shorter than the other.
We have a lot of loose change in one pocket.
It's...
Is there some evolutionary
Not-
sort of...
Yeah, it's probably
kind of
evolutionary. Stop you until you
benefit?
find the cave in the dark.
Yeah. So you don't
Maybe.
wander off.
That's a nice thought. I like that thought.
Yeah.
So fingers on buzzers, if you please. Which country contains the most of the River Nile?
Most,
Egypt.
Oh! Anybody else?
Is it Uganda?
Not, it is, the Nile does go through Uganda, but that's not the most of it. Most of the River Nile is in...
Chad.
No.
Belgium. Buying time. I'm buying time.
Yeah.
Tasmania. Djibouti.
Sudan is the right answer. If you look at a map, you will see it is massively the most. It's the largest country in Africa, and look how much of the Nile goes through Sudan.
Nearly
why
decides to
Egypt?
come back again.
Yeah, it does. It goes up and then back down again, and
Why-
all the way through to Uganda. as
So
you
why
see.
does Egypt have the sponsorship deal, like when Pepsi sponsor the Rolling Stones? I mean, is there
It's
some kind
the
of
fertility from the delta down through that.
Thing? So is a lot of Sudan desert?
Yeah, pretty much, I fear.
Okay.
But it's huge. It is the biggest country in Africa, Sudan, in fact. But the lake at the bottom is called
The lake at the
Victoria.
bottom.
Victoria, yes. And where is the source of the Nile?
It's not the...
It's Rwanda, in fact. But though it was thought to be, I think, there, where it ends in Uganda, the green one there, at Jinja, the north of the of
The source
Lake
of the Nile is
Victoria.
Rwanda.
But it's now determined to be Rwanda.
Bit
Yes.
controversial because it goes into the lake.
I
and
know,
out
then
the
it goes
other
into the
side.
lake, and you would say, but apparently that's what riverologists, as it were, now claim.
How long is it? It must be thousands and
3,000 miles.
3,000 miles? 4,000 miles.
Any advance or
Well, I'll say
retardation?
5,000 miles to enter into the spirit of things.
Okay. It's 4,184 miles.
Sounds about right.
So you said 5,000 and you said
3,000.
I said 4,172. Quietly when the other people were talking.
Big cheetah.
Big cheetah. Oh.
4,182 miles long. Jolly long. What does this part of the world belong to? There's Sudan again, there's Egypt. Which country owns that circled area?
Well, it's coloured in yellow. The colour of Egypt.
Is it one of ours, sir? Do we still hang on to it?
It's called Bir Tawali. Does it belong to Sudan or to Egypt? Which do you think?
Sudan.
Oh, what a pity! Oh, 50-50 ball. You muffed it. Yeah, so it belongs
believe
to...
It could have been the other one then.
It could be the other one.
Yeah?
Yeah, the one above.
Which is...
The one maybe.
Yeah.
But what's that other stripy area
Well,
next to it?
good question.
That's it. That's queering my pitch, and no mistake.
Yes.
Also.
Well, we don't
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that the loose coalition area between Egypt and Sudan?
Yeah.
Don't leave them zone it.
It's known as the Halaib Triangle. Is the British drew that straight line and said you can be Egypt and you can be Sudan. But the point is that the Bir Tawil is pretty arid, there's nothing much there of any interest, but the one next to it, which is disputed, is worth having.
Oil.
Yeah, the problem is both Egypt and Sudan deny that they own that, because they think if they deny they own that, they'll be getting more of a chance for someone to arbitrate that they do have the valuable one. Each country is desperate to say that it doesn't own it, which is rather rare.
It's available. Let's snap it up.
Yeah.
So this is ongoing.
It's ongoing, yeah. Dispute.
Oh, I see.
Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia have tunnelled beneath the Red Sea and stolen the triangle and taken it away.
Anyway, the area of Bir Tawil sits between Egypt and Sudan. Both countries are fighting over the right to not own it. We're currently now, not giving too much away, in a studio in London. Where is the nearest piece of American soil to us here?
Grosvenor Square?
Is it?
The fact is, most people wrongly think that you're right that the American embassy is in Grosvenor Square at the moment, though they're about to move it. But an embassy is not considered the sovereign soil of the nation whose embassy it is. It belongs to Britain, the soil there. It's not American soil. This is a myth, this idea that the moment you step foot, you're on American soil. They wanted to buy the lease. Who owns Grosvenor Square?
Duke of Westminster.
The Duke
I
of
expect.
Westminster, the Grosvenor family, yeah, the Duke of Westminster. And they asked for the freehold. And do you know what he said? He said, yes, if you give my family back the state of Virginia, which you confiscated from us, you can have that. So they decided not to.
Good work, Duke of Westminster. I like him already.
But there is American soil in Britain, and the nearest to us is in Surrey. It's a tiny area. It's a memorial. A place in Surrey famous for an extraordinary British event in the year 1215. Do you know what happened?
Signing of the Magna Carta.
Yes.
Oh, I know where it is.
Runnymede.
Runnymede. Is
Runnymede.
Yes. But what is the memorial in Runnymede?
There's a JFK memorial.
It's the memorial to John F. Kennedy.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. And it's deliberately these sort of isometric, or whatever the word is, asymmetric steps, they slightly higgledy-piggledy, suggest a journey of pilgrimage towards him, and it is officially American soil. Anyway, so, embassies belong to the country they're situated in. So the US Embassy is not American territory, but there is some US soil at the JFK Memorial. Now, what might land on your head if you live under a flight path?
I know what you get if you sit under a cow.
Right.
A pat on the head.
Hey! Very nice.
Urine. Frozen urine.
Frozen urine. That that won't happen. They do not jettison their poo or their pee.
Is this the blue ice?
People think that's loo water that's frozen, but it just doesn't happen. They don't. It's completely sealed in.
Is it pollution?
You might get ordinary ice from the wings, because it's exactly from the edges of the wings. But what you will not get is poo or pee water.
Because they don't jettison it, do they?
They never jettison it. No.
Oh,
No.
Unless they're over Kent.
Unless they're in the Kent.
Unless, of course, you do it out the window.
Yeah, yes. Oh, my goodness. Look, that's a closey, isn't it? Good gracious.
Good Lord.
There you go. Yeah.
Very cheap flat indeed.
Some trains still, however, do, you just when you flush, goes into the track.
Is that why they say don't do it
While
in
waiting
the
in the
station,
station,
on the
yeah.
platform?
I thought that was just because they might be changing the barrel.
Like in the pub with beer, you mean? Me. What a
Take the
thought.
barrel out at crew.
So aeroplanes don't dump their waste while in flight. If some ice falls off a plane, then it probably came from the wings. Which country has the lowest age of consent in Europe?
Kazakhstan.
In Europe?
In Europe. Holland.
No.
Holland.
Not Holland.
Is it a H?
No, it's not.
Albania.
Well, there's the person who runs it is a double H.
Oh. And Holiness.
Yes.
His Holiness.
Yes.
The Vatican.
The Vatican City has the lowest age of consent. Age of 12 is the age of consent in Vatican City.
Gasp!
Yes, right. It's for peculiar reasons, yeah. It's because...
I think we know what the reasons are, Steve.
It's to do with the Lateran Treaty, in which Vatican City became a sort of sovereign state. So they elected to choose the laws of Italy from 1924, and it so happened that then Italy changed its consent from 12 to 16, and the Vatican didn't, and they've never bothered to change it since.
But is it something that's followed, or is it just, it's one of those old laws, but in reality it's frowned upon if you were to,
Oh, I don't think they would know. I don't.
No.
I think it would be
No,
frowned upon. I'm not even sure that they have citizens who are likely to get married, or even, who knows. I mean, it's very peculiar. The only people who can vote are cardinals under the age of 80. That's the only voting they have is for the Pope, and the people who vote for the Pope are cardinals. So no one. It's a peculiar city in that sense. It also has the highest crime rate.
Yeah.
By a long way, it has the highest. What would you say its population is?
5.
800.
500 is the
500,
answer.
yes.
500. There are 600 offences per year.
What sort
Really?
of offences?
Who?
Is it just one family? One really bad family. You've got tyres out in the front
It does
drive,
mean
if you knock on the door, they knock you out.
That proportionally per capita, it has the highest crime rate in the world.
A lot of 11-year-olds getting married.
Yeah, that's probably what it is exactly. Yeah, but it has the most helipads and TV stations per capita in the world as well. It's a strange place.
It's nuts.
Yep, the Vatican City has the lowest age of consent and the highest crime rate anywhere in Europe. But alas, our holiday romance is nearly over, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see who scored. We have a clear winner. A clear winner with +7. It's Rob Brydon. Well done. And only 12 points behind on -5, Rich Hall. And in third place on -22, Bill Bailey. With -28 is Alan Davis. So all that's left for me to do is to thank Rich, Rob, Bill, and of course Alan, and I leave you with this. As the extremely fragile jazz singer Billie Holiday said, Mom and Pop were just a couple of kids when they got married. He was 18, she was 16, and I was 3. Good night.
From a tough childhood to life as one of the country's most successful comedians, a profile of Eddie Izzard. Next here on BBC Two.